bridges. It was about changing timber decks on the bridges. And I looked at the business plan and sort of threw it away. I thought, this is nonsense. Why do you think I thought rehabilitating timber bridges with timber decks would be nonsense? What's the problem with that? Any civil engineers here? Who's game enough to put their hand up as a civil engineer? A lot of people smiling. I've already seen about 5 over there. Who's a civil engineer? Put your hand up. Yeah, a few? Oh, yeah, okay. Now, why do you think I thought rehabilitating timber bridges with timber is rubbish? When you think of bridges, what do you normally think of? Sorry? Very weak, yeah. It's structurally not a great material. Maintenance is bad, yeah. So you prefer which? Steel. Yeah, steel and concrete. Isn't that what most bridges are made of now? Yeah. So when I saw this business plan about rehabilitating timber bridges, I thought, well, most engineers think about steel and concrete. Why would you repair timber bridges? Why wouldn't you just knock them down and build them out of steel and concrete? But there was one paragraph in their business plan that I thought, right, there's a real business there. That one paragraph was, we test the bridges before we rehabilitate them. And I thought, right, if you test them, you can make a business out of that. Because we've got a lot of bridges in Australia that are quite old, and they all need testing. Yeah. So what we did was we came up with this non-destructive test. You can measure the load capability of a timber bridge. You come along with a sledgehammer that's modally tuned, and you give the bridge a knock with a sledgehammer. And then you've got accelerometers that are under the bridges, and they measure the vibration of the impact. And from that, you can test the strength of the bridge by measuring the vibration. The traditional way of measuring a bridge was to put weights on the bridge. And what do you do when you put the weights on the bridge? What are you measuring? Deflection. Deflection, yeah? How much the bridge is going to bend. Is that good for the bridge, do you think? No. Not really. You know, bending the bridge is not so good. So if we're going to give it a knock with a sledgehammer, we're not really bending the bridge or damaging the bridge. But the traditional way was not very good for the bridge. So we came up with this. Now, as I said, include pictures in your case study, because pictures do say 1,000 words. You get your bridge, you wire them up, you put all cables underneath the bridge, you put accelerometers underneath the bridge. You come along with your sledgehammer and give it a knock on the surface. The council may put some concrete blocks on the bridge, not a lot of weight, but some weight, and you give it another knock near the concrete blocks, and then you can test the strength. In those days, back in 2002, we were collecting the data in a Crow, a cut-over oscilloscope. Nowadays, it's just into a notebook or a laptop PC, or even an iPad these days. So have you got a pretty good idea of what the testing service is all about? Just from a picture and a quick description? Yeah. That's what you've got to do in your case study, describe what your product or service is. And I guess the other thing that I included in here is timber bridges were the main segment for our service. Concrete and steel was also a large segment. Also, we're doing visual inspections and girder testing and microstructure testing, but I'll talk to you about those in a minute. So that's the first section. Just describe what your product or service is. Next, here's our service features. Now, if you go to business plan under the product or service, go to service features. And that's what you see on the screen there. You see a table, there's bridge test, there's a few competitors there, and it shows the features of our service. That's our organisation, bridge test. Have we got a competitive advantage here, do you think, just by looking at that table? Duration is our advantage, is it? Absolutely. I mean, we can get in and out within 3.5 hours and test the bridge. So the rest of the crowd needs about 3 days. So we've got a real advantage there. Any others? Cost? Yeah, our price, $6,000. The others are what? That's 5 times that price. That's about twice. So our price is certainly very cheap. Anything else?
Accuracy.
Our accuracy, yeah, we're around about the 5% mark, which is good. These we're not too sure about. So we've got a few competitive advantages just by looking at that table there. creating that table there. We've got some competitive advantages. Let's have a look at the adoption, which is just below where you were. So I'm still on the product or service, and now I'm down to adoption. So for the case study, you stay mainly in the industry, and you start describing what your product is. And product adoption, we did this last lecture in class, how quickly products or services get adopted. So let's just have a look at this. The service, is it easily deployable, or is it